Welcome back to the Morning Mindset. I'm so thankful you are taking the time to get your mind aligned with the truth of God. It's more important than ever in these difficult times that we're living, where we're secluded away, social distancing, and living in kind of an everyday track of numbers of contracted cases of COVID-19 and people dying because of this disease. My friends, it's a very real thing, as surreal as it feels. And it's vital that we get our minds aligned with the truth of God, because it's the truth of God as He reveals it to us that will sustain us and enable us to be a blessing in the world rather than a hindrance to the faith of others. And we've been doing so by looking into this subject of the fear of the Lord. And today we're going to look at an example from the Bible in Job chapter 38 of how one man began to learn the fear of the Lord on a very deep level. And I recounted Job's situation yesterday, where God had allowed Satan to bring all kinds of harm into Job's life. He lost his children. He lost his wealth. He became sick. He had friends coming and discouraging and berating him for a lack of faith that they saw in his life. And in all these things, Job defended himself as being righteous, as not being one who has done the things he was being accused of. And you know what? God bears that out. God says in all the things Job said, he did not sin. So Job was right. He had not done anything that God was punishing him for, as his friends were saying. And so we get to the end of the story, or near the end of the story, when Job has responded to his friends, and the Lord Himself comes to Job in his painful circumstance. Now stop for a moment and think. Whatever painful circumstance you're in right now, whether it's a loved one suffering because of COVID-19 or the fears of someone maybe having it or being out of work, whatever your situation is, imagine if God came to you right now and was going to speak to you directly about your circumstance. Is that something you'd want to hear? I know for one I would. But I think the reason most of us say that is because we would hope for God to say something hopeful to us, something encouraging, something that explains our situation. And Job does not receive a bit of that. Instead, Job receives instruction and correction from the Lord. Now that feels very insensitive in our day and age, right? I mean, someone's down, you don't come and instruct them, you empathize and you sympathize and you get into their shoes and you put your arm around them. But my friends, that's not what God does. God comes and He reveals the reality of the situation. And I'm not talking about the circumstances that Job had endured. I'm talking about the reality between who Job is compared to who his God is. Here's the first thing God says to him. Who is this that darkens counsel by words without knowledge? Dress for action like a man. I will question you, and you make it known to me. So God is saying, if you want to question me, if you want to stand toe-to-toe with me and accuse me of doing wrong in your life or bringing things about that you don't deserve, well, then let's start out by examining who you are compared to me. And God goes through this litany of questions, such as, where were you when I laid the foundation of the earth? Tell me if you have understanding. Who determines its measurements? Surely you know. Who stretched the line upon it? And what were its bases sunk? Who laid its cornerstone? You see, God is pointing out, Job, I know you're going through a hard time, but I am much greater than you. I have a perspective on this situation you do not have. And so your place is not to question and doubt me. Your place is to trust me because that's who I am. My friends, God is describing for Job what it means to fear the Lord. Let's talk about it more tomorrow on The Morning Mindset.